The combo of the day. Daiwa PS10 and 1987 Daiwa Samurai. I wish I had thought about it because I just restored this rod. I got it off eBay and all the threading and the finish was just gone. I mean, I don't know what happened. But I used the original guides and rewrapped everything and did all the finish to it and everything. And the advantage of doing all that is I can also coat the decals on here too so they don't wear off. But that, to me, is a really good spinnerbait outfit. Very light, very fast action. I mean, we're talking almost extra fast. I mean, you got a lot of backbone right here, and 20% tip just does this. If you look up old school fishing videos and look up the Bill Dance worming, like the ABCs of worming, I think is what it's called. That's the rod. Medium heavy, 5.5 foot. The only difference is he's got a PS or a PT33 on here, which I have quite a few. Sorry. Anyway, just wanted to show it to everybody that even the old stuff can really be cool. And I've got a 17-pound Berkeley Transoptic on here because it's very, very limber line, but very, very strong. And it reminds me of the old photochromic Trimax, which later became Tournament Strength, which is now gone. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think this Transoptic is pretty much gone. But that's my setup right there. Can't kill these reels. Don't need magnets. Don't need them. These reels are doll babies, especially when you upgrade them with ball bearings. But enough of this. We're here for something else. Are you ready to run a gun? It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to Bassin 101. Todd here with you. Wow, Z-Man. Do I use a lot of Z-Man products? Nope. I use one lure. And that lure I use is the Fatty Z. 5-inch Fatty Z. That's all I use. And the reason is, it's a very short, stocky worm, much like a Senko. But I don't fish just like a Senko. I use June bug, and I use Canada crawl. Because they're both, if you hold them to the light, look here in the light, they're both kind of translucent. And that's the only two colors I use. It just depends on the kind of day I'm fishing, or the kind of water I'm fishing, or maybe the time of year. I'll use a different color over the other. But that's it. I keep it simple. 2 colors. This is a technique I'm not going to use a lot. So why have 5 colors, 10 colors? No. This is one of those specialty kind of lures that if this is what I want to use, then these are the 2 colors I'm going to go with. And that's it. I throw it 3 different ways. Okay? First way, it's on a 1/4 ounce shaky head. This just happens to be tungsten. I use a 1/4 ounce swing jig, which just happens to be tungsten. And the other one is a standard 2-aught EWG style hook. Now, let me explain these to you. If I'm wanting to fish Texas style, if I'm fishing in brush and stuff like that, I don't like throwing these on a Texas rig. And the reason I don't is because with it being that kind of a shape, it's going to have a bad habit of doing this. So I'm not going to throw these on a Texas rig, but I can throw them on a shaky head. Now, this one just happens to be the perfect size for that bait. I still have plenty of movement back here. I still got all this moving around, flopping around, floating, because it will float up. On a shaky head, this dude will stand just like this as you're shaking along, which is cool. Senkos don't do that, but these do. So this is kind of like my answer to a Senko when I want to fish specific rigs that guys throw Senkos on, because I don't like a bait laying on the water. If you look at my Senko video, you'll understand why. So for pitching around cover, skipping around docks, if I want to throw on a spinning rod or anything like that, I throw a shaky head. Now, if I want to cover water around rocks, if I'm throwing across rocky points, or if I'm fishing riprap or something like that, I'll go to the swing jig. Now this has got a smaller 3/0 hook, but again, you don't rig it very far up because you want to swing. So let me see if I can hold this thing up without looking like a goober. So you can see right there. Still plenty back here for this worm to dingle and dangle and juke and jive, all that kind of stuff. And it's, it's going like this as you're dragging the thing along. And I like a lighter weight for that because I don't tend to fish this very fast. Not only that, I don't like big, heavy, bulky lures to cast out. If I want a big, heavy, bulky lure to cast out, I'll throw a 1/2 ounce jig. Other than that, I don't want to fool with something that heavy. So standard bait casting equipment, you can definitely throw this, because this alone, I think this is a 1/4 ounce, maybe close to 5/16, just that. So it's already got some weight. So you figure that with this right here, looking at a 1/2 ounce system. Now, the third way I fish these things, let's get the other one out. The third way I fish these dudes is as a floating worm, weightless, but not like a Senko. Now, in my Senko video, I was showing a 4/0 hook that will help it bring down. The tail goes like this and everything else. All right, these float, okay? What I use is a 2/0 Eagle Claw laser sharp hook, EWG style. The reason I use the Eagle Claw is the wire is thicker than a standard EWG Gamakatsu, but it's not as thick as a Superline Gamakatsu. This is in between. And the 2/0 is just the right size for that. It's perfect. But you probably can't see this because this is like one of the smallest ones you can get. A little bitty swivel right there. That's about a 15-pound test swivel. This is my floating worm system. So I will throw this little invisible looking swivel about 6 inches above the hook, so that this does not twist my line as it's moving around. I have pretty much replaced my floating worms with this because it's short, it's bulky, it's easy for them to get their mouth on, and I've caught some big fish doing it. So big fish don't mind it. But this is a type of lure they have never seen from a Zoom trick worm, which everybody and their grandma throws. Nothing against trick worms, don't get me wrong. But this fish is a floating worm, something they've never seen. And I use this little bitty, itty bitty swivel right here. It's just a baby. I don't want to hit you. But it's a very small swivel. The reason I use a very small swivel is, have you ever thrown like say a 7 or a 5 size swivel in front of a floating worm, and you're literally jerking the swivel, and the worm wherever that swivel goes, the worm follows it. Goes this way, the worm follows it. I like the smallest swivel possible, and I only like it but this far in front of the lure, because now I'm pulling the lure rather than the swivel. The swivel You know, when it comes to a floating worm, you use a swivel to help the worm sink. I don't need that with this. Okay, it's, you know, it does float, but not like you think it does, because it still has salt. And that type of hook, which is in between a light wire and the heavy wire, is perfect. Because if you used a heavy wire, then you're going to overpower this bait, and it's not going to look natural in the water. If you use too light of a wire and a big fish grabs that dude, you're going to be in trouble. So I use a standard, like I said, this is an EWG laser sharp. You know, I mean, it is sharp. That's my 3 riggings. Nothing complicated. Just want to run that by you guys. I'm putting my stuff together just like you are, trying to simplify things, and just kind of ran across this, and I thought, I need to do a video on this, because there's a lot of things you can do with that lure right there that you just don't see anybody doing. So those are the 3 techniques: the shaky head, the swing jig, and a weightless hook fished like a floating worm. That's the way I fish these 2 right here. And that's where the deal color can come into play too. That shad looking version they have will work really good on a weightless hook as a shad. But personally, I'm going to fish these 3 kind of equally. So I'll stick with these 2 right here. I'll be fine with that. But I hope this helps, guys. I know some of you are kind of like, yeah, when it comes to Z-Man. And I will admit, it's kind of nice to have stretchy stuff. And, salt. I'm weird like that. But yeah, this is actually a really great lure. And it's shaped like nothing in nature. But, man, it catches them. And I've caught smallmouth on these too, especially in the river. So they definitely work. So I hope that helps, guys. That's my 3 basic rigs. That's how I fish them. I know everybody else is different. And if you're different and you catch fish on them that way too, go for it. If you fish from Texas rig and you don't mind the line twist and you still catch them, go for it. Don't stop doing it, man. Keep going. I'm just showing you how I do them. That's just me. But anyway, until next time, tight lines to you. I hope the Father blesses and keeps you in Yeshua's name. And as always, fish on.